let's drop in. So we're going to talk about what Ayurvedic science is and what somatic inquiry is, as well as what is a traumatized system and regulation. All of this is super important as we move forward in our healing journey. Ayurvedic science is a science based on holism, which basically means that the sum of its parts does not equate to the entirety of a system. So, for example, holism and Ayurvedic science looks at the laws of nature and the universe as being perfect, as being exactly as it should. And if we take out a piece of it, then it is no longer an entire system. It's no longer the natural world and the universe, right? So it requires the moving elements within it to all be coexisting within one another, right? Ayurvedic science also tells us that there is a ever-connected web within the universe, within the natural world, and within us. So there's this honoring of the macrocosm and the microcosm, which basically means that that which exists in the universe or on a macro scale exists within us. So there's this phrase that you might have heard, which is the way we do one thing is how we do all things, right? And this is very similar to this idea. So if we look at one area of my life, how am I also acting or moving in a similar way in other areas of my life, right? If I, including the strength of my digestive capacity and so on. So how I digest one thing might be how I digest all things, right? So we utilize Ayurvedic science in a way that we can look in our macrocosm, our world, our universe, and then also notice that that's going to support what's going on inside when I can make things from within reach equilibrium. My external world will reach that as well, and vice versa, okay? And this science, this Ayurvedic science, we spoke about it a little bit before, but the purpose of it is to understand how to live a life of contentment and also a life of vitality, right? So we're going to go through practices that support that, practices daily, practices seasonally, right? All of these different practices that support vitality. And Ayurveda also tells us how we live a life of discontentment or dis-ease. All of it can be measured through the Ayurvedic system, okay? So while you aren't required to know all these things, know that this is the lens that I'm looking through, and this is the lens of really the science of life. And that's really what Ayurveda also means. Āyurveda, which is the science or knowledge of life. Okay, or how to live a life, right? And then we get to choose. We understand this information, we get to choose from an empowered place, right? So this is what we look at when we look at Ayurveda. And when I mention these certain terms, or living an Ayurvedic lifestyle or routine, it is to align with that which creates contentment, that which creates vitality, okay? And another important aspect is that while health is wonderful and incredible, beautiful, and feels good, it might not be the actual ultimate goal, right? But when we do achieve like full vitality, then I have the capacity to live out my life's purpose, my duty, my dharma, and typically that thing also supports my community or the environment, right? But I need that strength, that vitality, that health to then move through my dharma. And then through that dharma, we can move through artha. Artha is the receiving of a thing, receiving of anything, right? Whether that's money or what have you. But I receive through that dharma, right? And then from artha, we go into kama. Kama is the enjoyment, especially the enjoyment from the fruits of our labor, enjoyment of the things that I receive. And then we go into moksha or liberation, right? Releasing from worldly duties. And that's a wonderful place to be. And these seasons and chapters of life, they really do work systematically, okay? So that's also a lens that I want you to recognize that we're looking through.